Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are going to be doing a little something different with this. I wanted to talk today about the meta going into this KC Cup and kind of what to expect, what to look out for, what to play in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links KC Cup. So, first and foremost, this is on the Duel Links meta website. Here is the link right here. duellinksmeta.com/tier-list/ right? That's where you can find it. So, there you go. This is a great source for finding all sorts of different things. It is run by Duel Links Meta, one of the top creators in Duel Links. So, I would highly suggest, if you want to play competitively, to also go and check him out. He has tons of great decks that you can play and check out for yourself. But going into this, I wanted to talk about the meta going into the KC Cup and basically just what to expect. So, first and foremost, there are 4 Tier 1 viable decks. However, I want to point out that Dark Lords are probably the weakest. Even though they're there second, it is in alphabetical order. That is why Dark Lords probably are closer to like a 2.5, or sorry, a 1.5 tier. Not quite there, right? If we had like a tier, if it was like the difference between an S and an A plus tier, or an A and an A plus tier, all 3 of these would be A plus. Dark Lords would be closer to an A. Still very viable. Still beats so many different decks. It's still an incredibly viable option. We can look at this real quick and see most of the time what is being run. You have, or what sometimes is being run. So, Triple Ixchel, Nastin, Double Tez, Amdusk, Ukubak, one of each. Triple Banishment, obviously. The Contact, the Sanctified requirements, and then people are running Needle Sealing. If there are 4 or more monsters on the field, destroy all face-up monsters. Now that's really good in this meta because you can destroy Spiritual Beasts, you can destroy Blackwings, you can destroy all of these different things, and you can protect it with Tez. So if you have this card, it is very useful. I don't run this card because I don't have it, but if you have it, it's very nice. Then you can, then we obviously have Desire and Lava Golem. Lava Golem is more so for something like Cockatus, if there's 2 of them. I would also suggest running possibly the Dark Plasma, Destiny Hero Plasma. That's what it's called. Jeez and Pro. Destiny Hero Plasma works very well as well, and it's a great out to Cockatus, as well as really just Invoker in general. Then, the reason that this deck is top tier is because of this skill. If your life points have decreased by 1,800 or more, you can draw a glossy or prismatic card from your deck. You run either a glossy Lava Golem, or you don't, depending on what you prefer. But you always run at least 1 glossy / prismatic Banishment of the Dark Lords, right? And the problem with this is that it is very pay to win. I still think that Kaiba Court Bling is probably the best, and makes it almost above a cut of the rest. But if you don't have Kaiba Court Bling and you aren't playing this specific deck, right, with a glossy or prismatic Banishment of the Dark Lords, this deck is a lower cut below the rest. Now, what are some other skills that you can run? Other skills that you can run are things like Destiny Draw. You lose 2,000 life points. You can draw whatever card you want from your deck, right? You can draw a Banishment, you can draw a Contact, you could draw a Needle Sealing, you could draw a Sanctified Dark Lord, you could draw whatever, right? I run a Draw Sense Spell or Trap, which allows me to get banishment or contact or something like that, which is also incredibly useful. But it is a little bit more of a gamble because you could end up drawing something that you don't need. So there's that. Obviously, Ukubak and Amdusk are probably the most optional of the cards, as well as you can also run Morning Star. Morning Star, it's in 42% of the decks, only at 1, but I would highly suggest that you use it, right? Then you have Ukubak at 90%. Cosmic Cyclone's pretty good. Nastin, obviously, you run several Nastin. But, yeah, it's kind of up to you what to do with this. This is a standard deck. It's still very good. But why do I think that it's not the best? Well, if we go back to the tier list real quick, Blackwings and Invoker kind of destroy Dark Lords. Kind of. Dark Lords can still win. If they get Sanctified Dark Lord, they can still beat things like Blackwings or Invoker. And if they play it right, they can end up just absolutely dominating and stuff like that. But the meta was definitely around Dark Lords for a long time, and Dark Lords were hit with the nerf, causing them to no longer be able to play something like World Legacy Clash, which was absolutely busted for them, as well as they can't play things like Treacherous Trap Hole or the Enemy Controller or anything like that because of the nerfs. So that's kind of why it's not as good, right? All of these other cards can play something like Hey Trunade, Treacherous Trap Hole, which are two of probably the best cards in the meta right now. Just prevent the other player from playing, right? Especially against Ritual Beast. Treacherous Trap Hole is absolutely insane. So if you have that, start putting that into your decks as a tech card. It counters Ritual Beasts. It counters Dark Lords. It counters Blackwings, right? 3 of probably the absolute best decks at the moment. Now let's talk about Blackwings. The new addition to the meta at the moment, right? Here's what you're running. Triple Black Whirlwind. You're running at least one Chidori, one Raikiri. I wanted to say Raigeki, but that's not the right word. You're running Steam, and obviously 3 Simoon. 3 Simoon. If you control no monsters, you can banish one other Blackwing monster from your hand to special summon. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck for the rest of the term, except dark monsters. Well, these are dark monsters, so that's great. And then you can place a Black Whirlwind from the deck face up. Simoon just increases the consistency of this deck. It is absolutely insane. Then, what else are we running? Well, Triple Simoon, Triple Black Whirlwind, Cosmic Cyclone. I would suggest also running Hey Trunade instead of that. Hey Trunade allows for a lot more one-turn kills. You can just Hey Trunade, return their set cards, do your combos. You won't be negated, you won't be destroyed, you won't anything like that, right? And then you can just pop the other cards on the field and swing in for lethal. So Hey Trunade, I would say, is probably better than double Cosmic Cyclone. However, Cosmic Cyclone is still pretty good. Now we run Harpy's Hunting Ground to increase the attack of your Blackwings so that they're a little bit more resilient and pack a little bit more punch so that you can get over some of the other things. Then you have Bora the Spear, as well as Gale the Whirlwind, Chris the Crack of Dawn, Steam the Cloak, Orishi the Squall, and Jin the Rain Shadow. Now Jin, I want to talk about this one real quick. If this card battles a monster with defense equal to or less, then this attack destroys the monster immediately after this card's effect without applying damage calculation. But the main reason you have this card is it is a level 1 tuner, right? A lot of these cards, so we have a level 3 tuner with Gale, and then all of these, and then a level 3 tuner with Steam, and then these two are both level 1s, which allow you to synchro summon with Simoon, right? It's all about synchro summoning for Chidori, Raikiri, and Obsidian Hawk Joe, right? Now, you want to Synchro Summon Raikiri. Get that out. Because this can pop cards on the field. Once per turn, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of other Blackwing monsters you control, destroy them, right? It's insanely good, right? If you have multiple Blackwings, which a lot of these can summon if there is another Blackwing on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand if you control another Blackwing on the field. So, all of that. Then, these are 2 tech options. This one is really good against Spiritual Beasts. During your main phase 1, if a turn player successfully conducts their 3rd summon of a monster this turn, it ends the turn. It's really good. Meaning, Spiritual Beasts, they can summon 3 times before it ends the turn. Realistically, they can only summon twice until they have to swing in for battle phase, right? Then you have Necro Valley, which just absolutely destroys Dark Lords. Okay? So you have those 2. I wouldn't really suggest playing either one of these in the main deck. I would suggest making sure that you have something like Hey Trunade and Treacherous Trap Hole. Treacherous Trap Hole does very similar things, and it's a trap. It's very good, right? It's not a field spell. It's not something like that. I would say put Treacherous Trap Hole in over these 2, as well as Hey Trunade to go for the lethal in the KC Cup. If you're in a tournament, that's a whole nother issue. That's a whole nother topic, right? That being said, putting this in the main deck, if you really don't want to face off against some of those other... Well, actually, now that I think about it, you can't put Hey Trunade and Treacherous Trap Hole in the same deck. So, put either Hey Trunade or Treacherous Trap Hole in. If you put Hey Trunade, take out the Cosmic Cyclones. If you put Treacherous, take out these 2. So there you go. That's what I would say. But this card is really... Or this deck is really good at going second and killing you immediately. 1 turn killing you with... the pop of Raikiri, as well as the protection of Obsidian Hawk Joe. If you do survive the round, you can still be protected with Obsidian Hawk Joe and stuff like that. And if you go first, you run Ancient Fairy Dragon, 3000 defense. You can destroy a field spell on the card to add another field spell from your deck to your hand. So that could grab you Necro Valley or Summon Breaker, right? So this is really good against something like Ritual Beasts or Dark Lords, right? And then Red Dragon Archfiend, just to kind of beat down your opponent if they have a bunch of defense position monsters. Again, this is really good against Dark Lords. This deck in particular is really good against Dark Lords. Dark Lords has outs to it, obviously, because it's still a tier 1 deck, but this one in particular, really good against Dark Lords, not nearly as good against something like Invoker. So there you go. Now, going back to the tier list, we have our 3rd tier 1 deck, which is Invokers and Invoked. Running Alistair the Invoker, and this is pure Invokes, which, this is an interesting one. I haven't seen this one, but you run Alistair the Invoker at 3, obviously. Then you run, okay, this is a really weird one. This is from the MCS, but this is an interesting one. You run Sorcery Conduit. If you take 1,000 life points of damage, you grab up your Alistair the Invoker. Pretty freaking good. And you can take 1,000 points of damage using Cosmic Cyclone, right? Divine Wrath, to counter monster effects, Divine Wrath is going to be super good now because a lot of the cards that are currently being played, a lot of the decks that are currently being played, are all about monster effects. All 4 of the top tier 1 decks all use a lot of monster effects. Dark Lords, heavy monster effects. The Alistair the Invoker, heavy invokers, heavy monster effects with Alistair the Invoker. You have Black Wings, which all have very important monster effects, as well as spiritual beasts that are basically reliant on monster effects and almost solely on monster effects. So Divine Wrath, gonna be pretty good. Anything that really counters the monster effects, look out for that. Gonna be very good. And destroying cards is also pretty good now. So if it destroys a monster, that's pretty good. While it just puts it in the grave, which most of the time isn't inherently a terrible option, it does give you the option to kind of stop what they're doing by negating their effect. So this one's a little bit different. It is running Tackle Crusader. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can activate one of these effects. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls, put it in face-down defense position. Or you can target one face-up spell or trap card your opponent controls, return that target to the hand. This turn, your opponent cannot activate cards with the same name as the card returned to the hand by this effect. Right? A Lava Golem and Cayenne, the Master Magma Blacksmith. You can banish this card from the graveyard of all face-up lava monsters. That's basically just to have another fire. For this guy, Purgatrio is in the new box, but it's Alistair and one fire type. He gains 200 attack for every card your opponent controls, and he inflicts piercing battle damage, and he can attack all of your opponent's monsters on the field once each. Right? So, what you do is... I'm surprised that this man is not running a Concentrating Current, because Concentrating Current is absolutely insane. However, he is running double Treacherous. Treacherous is that good, guys. Treacherous is so good right now. But Concentrating Current, you can boost up and then swing in and deal piercing damage to anything, really, and get over it with Purgatrio. It's an insanely good card at the moment. It is what Invokers needed to make them top tier, and like it destroys Dark Lords. It destroys anything in defense position, right? And then you have invoked Mage Lanica, and this one you just boost up with your Invoker or your Concentrating Current or something like that, and then you can swing in. Now, most people run Cocytus, because in defense position, it can attack, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. 2,900 attack, or defense, pretty freaking good. Black Rose Dragon, I would highly suggest running this with Scrap Goblin. As you can see, a lot of people are still running Scrap Goblin as well. So Scrap Goblin, it can be destroyed by battle, right? So if someone swings into it once, it flips up, it's still on the field, it's a level 3, you add the level 4 Alistair the Invoker, you Black Rose Dragon, you destroy the field, wipe the field, and then you can Alistair the Invoker with your, or you can Invocation with your Alistair the Invoker and the Scrap Goblin, since Scrap Goblin isn't Earth, to grab your Mage Lanica, which then swings in for lethal boosted up by the Invoker. And since the field is wiped, they almost have nothing to prevent you from swinging in unless they have a Kiteroid. Keep this in mind. Kiteroid is a brand new card. It's a brand new card. During damage calculation, if your opponent's monster attacks directly, quick effect, you can discard this card. You take no battle damage from that battle. During damage calculation, if your opponent's monster attacks directly, you can banish this card from your graveyard. You take no battle damage from that battle. This is a better Sphere Karibo, in my opinion, because you can use it twice in one turn with one card, and you get it from Bingo, the Bingo thing, the Bingo event. So look out for that. That's like one of the only things that could really stop it. That or a Sphere Karibo or a Bacon Saver. So keep that in mind. But Invokers are really good. You can also see... let's go to the top decks real quick, and let's actually look at some Invokers and what people are playing with Invocation. As you can see, it is the top deck at the moment. And everyone is playing Sorcery Conduit. A couple of people are playing Sealed Tombs. Again, that's really good against something like the Dark Lords or Black Wings. Black Wings also do a lot of stuff from the graveyard, so preventing that with Sealed Tombs is pretty good. But here's a much more standard Invoker deck. Scrap Goblin, Flip Flop Frog, Cocytus, 1 Purgatrio, 1 Black Rose Dragon, Concentrating Current to boost up, Forbidden Chalice to prevent monster effects. Do not allow them to use their effects. Forbidden Chalice is going up in priority, I promise you that. Enemy Controller, take control of the card. Just grab it. Prevent what they're doing. They have an Ixchel on the field, grab it. Say, no, this is my card now. Right? If they have a Desire, grab it. If they have something like that, grab it. Treacherous Trap Hole, to prevent the same thing, destroy the cards. Right? And then this card, if this card attacks, return the attacking monster to the hand after damage calculation. If this card, and this card gains defense equal to the returned monster. Oh, sorry, if this card is attacked. So, again, this is kind of just here for the fire, for the Purgatrio. I would suggest probably using Lava Golem over this, but Jarek, Terra, also a good option. This is a really good deck, probably, I would say, the best deck. And then you can also run it with Element Sabers or Magician Girls, if you want to look that up. Here you go, Element Sabers, it's probably in one of this, or you could look up Magician Girls, which, here it is, Magician Girls, probably in there, if you want to see those with Invoked. But going back to the tier list, we have one more tier 1 deck to talk about, and that is Ritual Beasts. Now, I don't quite know all of the combos that you can do, but I know the general idea is what you want to do is you want to summon Ritual Beast Tamer, Ritual Beast Tamer Elder. You want to summon Elder to summon another Ritual Beast or Spiritual Beast, to the field, or your Winda. Winda goes both ways. She's a Spiritual Beast Tamer, meaning that she is a Spiritual Beast as well as a Ritual Beast Tamer, allowing you to fusion summon any of these, right? Ritual Beast, their whole idea is fusion summoning without the use of polymerization. Must be special summoned from the extra deck by banishing the above cards you control. A Ritual Beast Tamer and a Spiritual Beast. Any 2. It doesn't matter, right? This guy is a Ritual Beast Tamer, and then all of the rest are the beasts, as well as Winda. Winda is a beast and a tamer. Pretty freaking good. Right? So you specials this guy, and then you banish cards, and then you can target cards and add them back to the graveyard, as well as add them to the field. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is you're trying to summon Pinky onto the field to return a card back to the hand. So if you can summon this guy, say, like an ideal play would be Elder, summon Pinky. Pinky, return a card to the hand. Then, Ritual Summon for Canahawk. Canahawk, send 2 cards, and I think you want 3, because you can send one from the... hold on. Once per turn, you can target 2 if you banish Ritual Beast cards, return them to the graveyard, and if you do, add 1 Ritual Beast card from your deck to your hand. During either player's turn, you can return this card you control to the extra deck, then target 2 of your banished monsters, 1 Ritual Beast Tamer and 1 Spiritual Beast, special summon them in defense position. So ideally, you would want 3 cards within the banish area. You get 3 there, then you send 1 to the graveyard, and you special summon the other 2, and you want to summon Pinky twice, or Petalfin. It's called Pinky by most of the community because it's a pink dolphin. But you summon it, send 2 things back to the hand, then you summon Ultipelio, which is unaffected by cards, by card effects when it swings in during the damage step. If this card attacks, it is unaffected by other cards' effects until the end of the damage step. So you kind of clear the field with that, and then you swing in for lethal with this guy. And then you have Spiritual Beast Apelio as well. You have 1 of him so that he can banish to the or he can banish a card to boost up your cards, but basically you just want to get things banished, so that's why you're doing that. Double Treacherous. Again, Treacherous is really good in the mirror matchup specifically because they play Elder, then they play another Spiritual Beast. You Treacherous them, you stop that entire combo. They don't get to play. They can't Canahawk, they can't Ultipelio, they can't Ulti-Petalfin, nothing. You just destroy them immediately, right? So, this is how you would get your third monster onto the field. You can banish a Ritual Beast card from your hand, then target one card your opponent controls, return it to their hand. So, it's kind of like a mini Trunade, right? Except it targets any card. And then since Ultipelio is unaffected by any other card effects, you could just swing in over a back row card, something like Wall of Disruption or Drowning Mirror Force or something like that, and it won't be affected. Then Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. There are so many dark type monsters that use their effects. All of Dark Lords, a lot of Black Wings, and Alistair the Invoker is dark himself. So Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, negate all dark monster effects activated on the field or in the graveyard. Not allowed. So that is a main deck card. Then you have Ritual Beast Ambush. Target one of your Ritual Beast Tamer monsters and one of your Spiritual Beast monsters that are banished and or in the graveyard. Special summon them in defense position. After this card is activated, you cannot special summon monsters except for Ritual Beast monsters for the rest of this turn. You can only activate one Ritual Beast Ambush per turn. So basically, just you activate it, you summon two cards that were banished or in the graveyard. Really good to get fusion summoning, or if you need to protect yourself from something else, right? Say the opponent swings in to one of your fusion monsters, you activate this, you bring two other guys on to the field. Pretty good. And then you can also play this, which is a quick play spell. Banish one Ritual Beast monster from your hand, then target one of your Ritual Beast monsters that is banished or is in your graveyard, special summon it. So you banish one to grab another one. And again, a lot of this is just banish to get more cards. To fuel your Canahawk, to fuel your Ultipelio. Ultipelio is basically how you win. You swing in with Ultipelio, and that's how you do your damage, right? So there you go. Or you can sit on Ulti-Petalfin, 2800 defense, and if it's boosted up by Apelio, it's even higher. I want to say it is 3300 after the boost, which is insanely difficult to get over. Then you play a Lava Golem for things like that. Or I would suggest, instead of playing that, to instead play Destiny Hero Plasma. Tribute the three monsters that you have on the field. Special summon it, and then negate all effects of face-up monsters your opponent controls. Just anything. Anytime there's a face-up monster on the field, negate it immediately. And then once per turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls, equip that target to this card. You could grab a Cocytus. You could grab a Mage Lanica. Or you could grab a Dark Lord card. Anything like that. The effects are negated immediately, right? So, as soon as this card comes out, Dark Lords can't respond. It's not an activation. It's not something that's chainable. You can't respond to it. You can respond to its summon, right? If you have, like, I don't know, Parshath. Or, I don't think Parshath actually works against that. But if you have, like, Solemn Scolding, right, you could activate that. So, there you go. Draw Sense High Level is going up in priority because it grabs yourself the Destiny Hero Plasma. And then you could also run Sealed Tombs. A lot of things activate from the graveyard. Now, let's quickly talk about some of the other decks that you might be expecting to see. A Mono Stun. Real quick, what it does. You play a Mono Iwato with dual standby, so you start with 5 cards in your hand. You play a Mono Iwato, and then you play a bunch of counter traps, as well as concentrating current and stuff like that, to basically prevent them from ever playing anything, right? And you can run it with either Invoker, or you can just run it pure with more Guardian Aetos, or some other cards that you can just get out onto the field. I saw someone playing with... I can't remember. But it was something that could be normal summoned by decreasing its attack in half. And then they played a Forbidden Chalice as well and boosted it up above... boosted it up, basically negating its own effect, boosting it up to 3,200 or something like that. It was insane. Really good. Wall of Disruption's really good. Parshath with Ultimate Providence, Debunk, Divine Wrath, all of that stuff. Incredibly useful. This is what makes it really, really good as well. It can play World Legacy Clash, banish one face-up monster you control until the end phase, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. That target loses attack and defense equal to the original attack and defense of that banished monster forever. Forever. And then you have Concentrating Current as well to just boost up and swing in. And with dual standby, allowing you to negate anything with a Mono Iwato, what this does is monsters cannot activate their effects except for spirit monsters. Once per turn, during the end phase, if this card was normal summoned or flip face up, this turn, return this card to the hand. What dual standby does is it prevents that. Each player's starting hand increases by 1 card. You cannot activate spell or trap cards or monster effects on your first turn. So that's only Taya Gardner. Meaning, you can set a whole bunch of cards, really good. That's why we play a whole bunch of these counter traps. Divine Wrath, Debunk, Ultimate Providence, and Rebirth of Parshath, all really good. And then you play a Mono Iwato in you play it face up, negating all effects. And since you can't activate the effect on your turn, it doesn't go back to the hand, meaning it stays there, right? And since it's preventing something like Dark Lords, even in the hand, from activating, it's really good. If you can get a Mono Iwato out, Dark Lords, on your first turn, Dark Lords can't do, anything. So, keep that in mind. And then we have the last one, which is new to the tier list. Well, not new, but it's returning champion. Kristrons has come back, have returned, and they're playing a little bit differently. As you can see, a lot of people are running a 30-card deck, using something like Transcendent Crystals. Send 1 to 3 cards from your hand to the graveyard, then choose the same number of Crystal Beast monsters from your deck as the number of cards you sent from the hand to the graveyard, and place them in the spell or trap card zone. The reason you do this is because Kristrons like to pop cards on the field, like to destroy them, to activate their effects, right? So you do that to activate the effect, and to grab yourself more of these effects. Kristrons, basically, what you want to do is you want to get out the Tuner, Citri, and then you want to summon Amatrix or Quarion or Samurai Destroyer or something like that in order to do your damage. Quarion banishes, I want to say it banishes. Does it banish 3 cards or does it destroy them? You can target monsters your opponent controls or in the graveyard up to the number of synchro materials used for the synchro summon, which you use at least 3 or more tuners, or 2 or more tuners, and then 1 non-tuner monster. So you use 3 to summon that guy, and it's weird because it's 2 tuners rather than 1, but then you banish cards. You banish those cards that you targeted, and you can banish stuff from the graveyard as well. So it's super nice. Then, if this card is destroyed, you can target 1 banished monster, except for this card, special summon it on your field. So, it's still pretty good. Obviously, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is really good. Pulse Mine, if you control a machine type monster, change your opponent's attack position monsters, if any, to defense position Also, until the end of the turn, if a monster is normal / special summoned to your opponent's field, change them to defense position. So, it's pretty good. And then you have Paladin Zektron. This turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. The turn it is synchro summoned. Also, you take no battle damage. Pretty good for kind of sitting on it. Samurai Destroyer, if it's destroyed by a card effect, you can bring it back. Or you can bring back any of these other cards. Sulfanier, Smyger. It would take too long for me to try and explain the entire combo. But ultimately, what you're trying to do is get Quarion or Samurai Destroyer or Amatrix out and swing in with those. And you can pop a whole bunch of cards using all of these things. So, there you go. That's that deck to look out for. Most people run 30. Not all people do. I've seen a lot of people run 20 card decks. But the most important cards are right here. This is what you want. Citri, I would say Smyger or Sulfanier. More so than this guy is popular. However, this guy is still pretty good. Amatrix, obviously. Quarion and Samurai Destroyer are probably... Go away. Samurai Destroyer. There you go. So that's kind of the meta to expect going into the KC Cup. Definitely going to be a lot of these top decks right here. I've been playing a lot of the KC Cup already, and this is basically all I see. Dark Lords, Black Wings, Invokers. I've seen a couple Spiritual Beasts, but I've seen more like a Mono Stun because it's easier to build and easier to understand. So now, I want to tell you guys real quick what to build if you guys are going into this KC Cup for the first time, or what to play. I would say, if you're new, build Ritual... if you're not new to the game, and you're thinking of what to build Ritual Beasts. It's difficult to understand, but once you get the combos, it's insanely good, and I don't expect it to get nerfed anytime soon. However, if you're new to the game, a Mono Stun, Invoker, Black Wings. Those are the 3 decks that I would go for. They're pretty easy to understand. Dark Lords are probably the middle ground where they're a little bit more difficult. You kind of have to know what you're doing with them, but if you do, they're pretty easy. You actually can think about the combos and stuff like that. Invoker's pretty easy to understand. Black Wings are pretty easy to understand. A Mono Stun's pretty easy to understand. Cristrons and Ritual Beasts, a little bit more difficult. So, if you're going into this, and if you could choose any one of these decks to play in the KC Cup, play Invoker. It has the most options. You can, if something's not working, you can trade out, and there are so many different options. Invoker's the way to go right now. That's not what I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be playing Dark Lords. I love Dark Lords. They're super fun. Super fun to play. Super cool archetype. So that's what I'm playing. Black Wings are also insanely good. They'd probably be my second option. But yeah. And I do think that Invokers are probably going to get a nerf next. I don't know when the nerf will come, but I would imagine that they're probably next. Hopefully they limit the Alistair the Invoker and Invocation. I would hope that that's what happens, limiting Alistair to 2 as well as limiting the Invocation to 1 would still give Invoker the viability to actually play, but it would cut some of their options. They wouldn't be able to play Treacherous Trap Hole and stuff like that. If that were the case, it would still be a very viable deck, but I would imagine that they're probably the next one on the list to get hit with the nerf bat. Ritual Beasts, probably not going to be as hit. And Black Wings as well. Black Wings are brand new. They're not going to be hit for a little while with nerfs, but I would expect them to eventually be hit with nerfs. I do think that Dark Lords will probably go down in priority simply because of Black Wings, Invoker, and Ritual Beasts. But there you go. That's what to look out for in the KC Cup. That's what to do. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did indeed enjoy, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to see more content like this, just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always Stay frosty.